Hello everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of us is a fun little build. This is Link from Wind Waker, designed by my brother Charlie. It is mostly a display piece where the figure has just a bit of posability here and there. Before I get into the details of this Lego build, first I do want to say that if you wanted to build this for yourself, you can find the instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys, where included with each purchase you can get the PDF step-by-step building guide, as well as a digital parts list for uploading and ordering all the parts you're going to need online. Getting instructions is a great way to help support what we do here at the channel, as well as the designers that we work with. If you haven't had a chance to check out the web store yet, it might just be worth popping in just to see what other custom cool Lego creations you can find there. But anyways, let's jump back into The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker Link. The game itself was released in the early 2000s for GameCube, and I think it's one of the best versions of Zelda. It's one of the first games to have really gone hard on the cell shading idea. It really kind of makes the characters look like they are cartoony characters, and some of that visual influence from this game can still be found in Breath of the Wild. What really works as a Lego build when choosing the Wind Waker Link is the fact that he's got a very large head, gives you a lot of space to really work around with the Lego parts for building the expression of him. And then on top of that, the cartoony or animated aspect of Link from this game just translates a little bit better into Lego bricks, maybe compared to some of the other iterations that we've seen him in. Here the build is pretty fun because there's a lot of nice bright colors to use. He's got a huge amount of green for that hood in the back, lots of yellow for his hair, and then the undershirt for his tunic is done in lime green, which is not an easy color to choose from in terms of part variety due to its somewhat rare nature. We made sure not to use particularly rare pieces in lime green, and if you're at all familiar with the game, or actually really familiar with any type of Zelda games, you'll know that this is pretty early on in the gameplay because he has his starting shield and sword. So starting from there, jumping into the closer details, you'll notice the Triforce is there in the shield. The top triangular bit of that Triforce is actually resting just a little bit loosely in the shield, but it makes for a decently accurate look, especially at this extremely small size. There's a few more ornate details of the shield in the front, and then you can see how Link is holding onto it in the back. I'll get into the stability of the model a little bit at the end, but you can see that the hand can turn just a little bit. So this is where the model has some posability, and also the weight of that shield really helps offset the weight of the green tunic hood in the back. Like so many brick-built figures, the sword is indeed studded into the hand where the fingers just kind of wrap around it loosely. It's more like for show. That way, of course, the sword actually stays in his arm much easier, and you can play around with the angle in which he holds it. I kind of like it where it's resting a little bit flat, though. Also, while we're down here, the feet have the ability to pivot ever so slightly. Doesn't change up the dynamic stance, really, but technically there is just a little bit of pivoting. And then, of course, when we move up, you can see that the head can move from left to right, and also up and down just a little bit. This is, of course, the most interactive feature for the model, at least it changes up the overall look the most, and the function works decently well. There's enough tension for when you have him look up, it stays looking up, and you have him look down, stays looking down. And also with the head, this is definitely the main spot with the most fun detail work. The yellow builds for the somewhat shaggy hair are studded on, usually by 1 or 2 studs each to get those interesting angles that cut across the forehead and kind of in between the eyes. And then you'll also notice that with the green bit of the hood in the back, it is raised up just by a plate to give the indication that the cloth itself is actually wrapping around his hair and not just having a solid color change. This bit of subtle detailing is definitely more noticeable from a little bit further away, and it adds just a nice little dimension there. And then with a variety of different hinge pieces, you can see the couple of different chunks that angle downward towards the back. This is where the most difficult and complex building is located internally. It is very hard to get these slope pieces to match up without too many seams. There's a couple of bits of subtle detailing on the model too, which are fun to appreciate. A little bit of blonde hair comes out from the bottom of the green hood, and just like how the hood covers over the hair by just an extra plate, you can see the same thing at work with the black belt that goes around his waist. Now it's time to talk about the handling of the model. This is by far and very obviously so a display piece, and you've seen me move all the different pieces of the model around already. I'm just doing it for you now all together uncut. When you're constantly moving it around or just playing around with the model a little bit here and there, you'll notice that the arm has the tendency to just droop ever so slightly. That weight of the shield can be a lot on the not so many pieces that stick out to hold it up. So I just pinch it together from time to time to make sure those pieces aren't drooping. The main thing here is stability. He has tiny little feet, a very large and heavy head. Of course, he is a little bit top heavy, though decently balanced, I gotta say. Obviously, he's pretty solid if you push him side to side, and he is immune to only small knocks and nudges from front to back. And I might as well, let me just knock him over for you. Little pieces here and there can break off of him, but frankly, there aren't too many complex connections to put back together. All the really big chunks all stay together. So at the end of the day, he is just a pretty casual little build to move around. Currently, he's been my desk topper for the past week or so. I have a feeling that's what a lot of people are probably going to want to use him for. Remember, if you did want to build this creation, you can find the instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Let me know what types of custom builds you want to see in the future. I know we're getting tons and tons of submissions. Sorry if I haven't been able to get back to all of you. We get maybe 10 or 15 or 20 a day or something like that. It is kind of a lot, but we absolutely love the enthusiasm and support. So let me know what types of creations you want to see coming down the line. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.